Good day to all the viewers at home, and welcome to a new thing brought to you by the Global Business Roundtable. My name is Sipho Mseleku, the convener of the Global Business Roundtable and your host for today. The Global Business Roundtable, also known as GBR, is a Christ-centered organization. GBR is multi-denominational, multicultural, and multiracial organization, focusing on the holistic development of its members in line with God's purpose for their lives. GBR focuses on the kingship of Christ and not only on the priesthood of Christ. It encourages its members not only to influence and take over the spiritual mountain, but also other sectors of society, such as education, economy and finance, science and technology, sports, arts and culture, politics and governance, and also deals with family and societal issues. The name of the show is taken from the book of Isaiah 43, verse 18 to 19. Forget the former things. Do not dwell in the past. See, I am doing a new thing. It springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Today we are discussing the topic on the role of the media and broadcasters in advancing the kingdom of God. And I think this is very important because we've got a lot of media that shape society and perceptions. But before we get into the topic of today, I would like to introduce our panelists who are here with us on the studio, all involved in the media industry in one way or another. On my extreme left, I have Pastor Zacharia Mthethwa. He is the CEO of Voice of the Church in Swaziland, a Christian radio station in Swaziland. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you. Immediately next to him, I have Mr. Lucky Mbiko. He is the CEO of TBN in Africa. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a privilege to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And on my right-hand side, I have Ms. Tsepang Mosena, a founding partner of BAM Group in Lesotho, and also she is a leader of GBR in Lesotho. Welcome, madam.
Thank you, Excellency.
On my extreme right, I have Mr. Thabang Nkosi. He's the head of IT and communications at GBR and also the managing director of Sakumnoto Media. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me, sir.
You're welcome. Can I just take a few minutes, a minute each, to introduce ourselves, just the highlights of our career, what we do, and your purpose in life, and in terms of being in that platform that God has given you to occupy. Rev Mthethwa, in 1 minute each.
Thank you, Excellency. I am Reverend Zacharia Mthethwa from the beautiful kingdom of Swaziland. I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Voice of the Church, which is the only Christian radio station in Swaziland. We are broadcasting in Swaziland and even in Mpumalanga province. We're also broadcasting through internet broadcasting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Mr. Mbiko.
Jumbo, good day, and thank you very much, sir, and the viewer. It's quite a privilege to be here. My name is Lucky Mbiko, and I am the managing director for TBN in Africa. Now, TBN in Africa is in 52 countries across the whole of Africa. My mandate is to ensure that through media, we change people's lives. And of course, my motto in life is, here I am, Lord, use me.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction. It's very powerful. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Viewers at home. Good day, everybody. My name, it's been mentioned, I'm Tsepang Mosena from the beautiful mountain kingdom of Lesotho. I'm here representing media from Lesotho. I'm a founding partner of BAM Group of companies, but specifically for these purposes, I will refer to publications that we own in Lesotho. We have a newspaper, a weekly newspaper, it's called Informative, and we also have a women's magazine. It's called Finite Magazine, and we also have a youth publication. It's a magazine as well. It's called Achiever Magazine. I've also recently taken office in, as the Marketing and Communications Secretary in a public office. So I think that's, I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Master Thabang.
Thank you, sir. Greeting to the viewers at home. My name is Thabang Nkosi, and I'm currently serving as the head of department for the IT and communications department within the Global Business Roundtable. I do the work of the Lord there most of my time, and then God takes care of me by making me a managing director of Sakomnoto Media, which is a global media company, I like to believe. And in fact, the look and feel of this show was created by our company. In fact, even this beautiful studio as well. So I'm the managing director for that company. And then most importantly as well, locally, I serve as a local chairperson of a local chapter in Benoni, South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thabang Nkosi. Thank you very much for designing this beautiful set and this beautiful studio for us. We do give credit to you. And the Lord has used you mightily in your team. Let's get into it. Who or what is media? And what is the purpose of media in society? How much influence does media have in today's life and in influencing people's perception of the world, decisions that they have to make every day? And why is it difficult for Christian channels to penetrate the mainstream media? And are the Christian programs relevant for society today? Who wants to start? You want to start?
Thank you very much, sir. For me, I would like to say media is a collection of businesses and enterprises that are using technology to bring information and entertainment to the people. Now, you will find out that there are so many facets of the technology that is being used. I see that we have radio here, we have newspaper, we have media, advertising and stuff like that. All of this is media, and the impact that it has in people's lives is so much. I mean, I know a lot of people who base their decision making on what is being said on radio, on TV, and on what they have read on newspapers. The media has quite a tremendous impact and influence in people's lives. It should be taken seriously by organizations like us, especially since we have a mandate to change people's lives. This is a gift from God.
Thank you. Rev Mthethwa, do you want to come in there?
Your Excellency, thank you. When we define media, from my perspective, or from the radio perspective, I would say this is a diversified collection of media technologies that reach out to a large audience through, that is via mass communication. And we would like to say, if you remove communication from society, then life would be like upside down. You see, communication is key in the fabric of life. And then the purpose of media, therefore, is to inform, it is to educate, it is to, when you inform, you also educate out there, and then also entertain people out there. That is media. And then when it comes to the role, what is the influence now? What is the impact of media into society? Now, it's very amazing. We are shaping the lives of society as media people. We are actually influencing the public opinion of things that are happening there as we report. The way we report, we are influencing them. So that it is a very much amazing out there. Viewers and listeners and readers of papers, they do have watches. But it's amazing when they tune on the radio, they don't look into their watches for time, but they want to hear it from the one who's broadcasting. Then they believe so much in the one that is said by the one broadcasting. So that's how big the influence is in media. Thank you very much.
Okay. Your Excellency, Madam Tsepang, want to come in? Thank
you. Yes, I definitely would like to come in. I think what I love about media is the fact that it stimulates debate. It promotes awareness about certain issues that a lot of people could be ignorant on. And it helps people to know themselves better. You know, a world where you don't know what is happening, where you don't know what is likely to happen, you tend to make decisions made out of your own confinement. So with media, I love it so much because it gives people the power, and it also gives the power to the people that are providing a platform for media. And that's why we have to respect it so much when we are the ones that are driving the media platform. The information that we give to the people influences what they do, how they do things, because like it has been said, they believe so much in what the correct media is saying.
Do you want to wrap up your views on media, its role?
I think I just want to touch base in terms of a question which you've asked to say that why is Christianity not jumping into the mainstream media? And I think what I've realized is the fact that, you know, there's a concept called target market, which exists out there in the world. And the target market is something which says, no, this is only intended for these people, and which is not the case. And when you look into the Bible, I think in Luke 4, verse 43, I think it was when Jesus went into a town in Galilee, and he was preaching in the synagogues. And when he was about to leave, people said to him, they wanted to stop him, to say, no, don't go, you know. But he said to them, and I think I'll just read from the scripture, he said, no, but, and he said, but I must proclaim the good news of the kingdom of God to other towns as well. And this is because I was sent for that, meaning that the good news, meaning the kingdom of God, is not only intended for certain people. It's supposed to be across the board in any case. And then therefore, media is supposed to be across the board and not only say that we're only Christian media per se.
Yeah. So the Christian media has narrowed itself to Christians, and yet it's supposed to be broadcasting to everyone, so that even those that who do not know Christ can come to know Christ. The good news must be spread to other nations, to other people as well.
You know, media is, we have to zoom in into the fact that media is so powerful. First of all, media reaches places that we dare dream to reach. For instance, even within Africa, you'll find that there are countries where the gospel of Christ is not necessarily welcomed by the governments and stuff like that. But by virtue of using media, you find people watching TV, listening to radio, and being reached by the very same media. So this is a very powerful tool, but also we must use it to the greatest advantage. Now, the challenge that we have in terms of firstly penetrating the secular media is that we are so mediocre. We have to really accept that, because healing begins with acceptance. So once we realize how mediocre we are, then we would be able to then say, what is it that we are doing that doesn't render so much interest to the people, to the viewer, to the listener, to the reader? Then if we are able to zoom into what is it that we're doing that is slightly wrong, we will be able to influence people. For instance, just talking about news, we were talking with the BAM group and the Voice of the Church about the importance of not necessarily sometimes bringing whatever content we're bringing from a very Christian perspective, but we coat it with so much hope so that we grab the attention of other religions and other people that are not necessarily Christians. That's the main problem that we have. And if we start there, we would be able to influence so much people.
Sorry. So the points that you've touched on, and I like this one of a frank assessment that we should deal with mediocrity.
Mediocrity, yes.
We need to be professional. We need to invest in research. We need to invest in training and development of media practitioners. And we need to compete with the best in the world.
Exactly.
And it's only when we take ourselves seriously and our viewers seriously that people will take us seriously.
I'm so glad when I meet with people like the Global Business Roundtable and the Global Fund for Jesus, because I see so much excellence. And therefore, we present or we represent God in such an excellent way if we spend so much time and resources, like for instance, on ensuring that the equipment we use is state of the art, ensuring that people are being skilled. We send people to the best schools to ensure that they come and infuse what they have learned And then the secular media will then open up to us, and it will then accept us, because the secular media is supposed to be taking so much example from us.
Exactly.
Because we are presenting, we are representing an excellent God, a creator. Creativity comes from God.
You want to come in there?
Thank you, Your Excellency. I want to come in from this perspective. You see, the media, which is Christian media, is actually not a church per se, but it's a para-church organization, which is meant to help the church in the fulfillment of the Great Commission. So we need to be taking out the salt from the salt shaker now, so that we become relevant and we are carrying on with the fulfillment of the Great Commission. So when we reach to only Christian through our media, we're not doing justice to Christ, because he is expecting us to leap over to the unreached with our gospel. So we need to really come out and say, we are fulfilling, we are taking the mandate out to the world. But then what are the strategies in place? Number one, when we want to reach to the unreached, I like the point of saying, let's begin by going to school. Excellence. Let us be learned people in terms of the media. Let's train our people. Let's not just pick MCs and chorus leaders from the church and say, reach out, because they will not be relevant to the needs of the people out there. You know, some listeners and viewers would say, I always switch off because they are not talking to me. And even to my needs. We need to be addressing, we need to be knowing what is happening out there, what are the needs of the people. So we're going to get the needs by educating our media practitioners out there. Then number two, I want to appeal to the Christian society. I like what Global Business Roundtable is doing, bringing together business people, like Christian business people. There are Christian business people that are out there. They must come out to the fore and say, no one is ready. No one, like one person, cannot fund the whole Great Commission. Let's come together and mobilize resources to get, now, powerful media equipment, technology, the now technology equipment. Because some of us are not listening to us because this is so noisy, it is in the radio, you can't get it. The station, sometimes you switch on, it's not there, because we're using tools which are very cheap. Let me appeal to the Christian business people. Come out, let's stand up for the gospel and become kingdom funders.
Yes.
Then we'll be able to reach out to the world out there. Thank you very much.
There's a very important point that I want to ask Mr. Mbiko, which is the content part.
Yeah.
And people are interested in the content that's relevant to their lives. And there's a lot of, in Christian media, a lot of preaching and a lot of spiritual things, but not bringing that message into practical application in people's daily lives. And this is a lot, and we've got a lot of sermons, and but no teachings and no relevant information about me sitting in that rural area without a job. How does this help me?
Amen.
I don't know if you can come into that. I'll come back to you this side.
Thank you. You know, there's no way that I would be able to answer that question without necessarily talking about TBN in Africa. TBN in Africa we have made it our mandate, firstly, to ensure that we bring so much variety in terms of content. You have touched on a very important issue of always preaching the whole time. I don't want, as the managing director of TBN in Africa, I don't want to be in church the whole day. I want to see what the business world is up to. I want to see what's happening as far as the news are concerned in other worlds. I want to watch movies. I want to be entertained as well. And therefore, that is why we are striving for excellence in bringing so much variety in terms of content. Programs like these, where people are empowered from very many aspects in their lives. Business. We're going to be also, as TBN, bringing a whole lot of different programs as well, like on education, on health, there's even more business and stuff like that. So it is so important that the viewer or the listener or the reader, when they read, they don't feel like, I just feel like I want to read a secular magazine because it feels as if I'm not getting this enough information from this publication, from this channel, or from this radio station.
It's the Christian media that makes people go to other media to find other information, because we live in the real world. If as a businessman I do not find the information from your channel, I'll have to go to another secular channel. Whether if I'm a sports person, if I'm an academic, etc., you will have to find other means of getting information if the information is not presented to you holistically by the Christian media.
The way that media presents itself, like Mr Mbiko has said, we can either attract people or repel them. Now, there's a lot of media that takes pride in spreading propaganda. There's a lot of media that takes pride in disturbing, peace. It's okay to inform people what is happening, but the how part of it is very important. I think it's time that we took, we really introspect before we give a message out there. Do I want this person to get destroyed? Or do I want this person to be informed and make better choices in the future? What exactly is my motive? Am I in this media industry just to sell advertising and get revenue and sell copies? Or I'm here to deliver on the mandate of God? What is my purpose here? And the way we present issues, really, it's very important that they should be attractive. I'll talk from the perspective of Lesotho. I think in my country, we have some Christian radio stations, particularly I'll speak to those ones, which are very, very diversified in terms of content, and that is how they attract listenership. And you find that even people that are not necessarily Christians, they tune on to these radio stations because they talk a lot of issues. You'll be talking politics, you'll be talking what is happening in the private sector, you'll be talking women empowerment, a lot of things that sometimes they seem to be taboo in the media, in the Christian centered media. So the how part of it is very, very important, and we need to show people out there that we are presenting Christian values. Are we talking for the voiceless? Are we empowering them? Are we making sure that after they have listened to us, they want to come back and listen to us again? When you read a publication, you want information that says, come back again because I'm empowering you. And you want to be proud that you have contributed to the positive image that your environment is presenting to the people. So I think as far as media is concerned, there's a lot of education that we need to bring amongst ourselves. We need to be talking to each other and not fighting as media as well, because sometimes we are trying to portray the same message, but we are doing it differently and we are influencing people differently. So I think it's time that we really try to focus on developing people, just like GBR is doing. You want to be in a program where you feel empowered, you feel informed, and you are addressing different issues, not the same thing over and over again. So I think it's incumbent upon us, the people that are leaders in the media, how we present information, who are we presenting? Because sometimes you find that we are focusing on certain kinds of people only, and we are leaving out important people, and they are even afraid to be part of us because of the way we present them. Exactly. I'll talk for women, for example. A lot of times you find that women are not presented, their voices are not heard positively in the media. They're presented as victims, they're presented as helpless, and we don't look for those powerful women who can also give hope to other women. What are we doing as the media to empower other people? Exactly. So that's my take on it.
That's how you shape the perception.
That's how we shape the perception.
Whether you instill the inferiority complex or I can do complex.
Thank you.
That it's possible.
It's very, very...
I want to be like that.
Exactly.
Do you want to come in there, Master Thabang?
Well, I think I'll speak from a perspective of as a young person. You know, as young people, whenever I would hear the word Christian media, I would think to myself, pulpit, you know. And we need to be moving to an era
A very important point, yes, yeah.
Whereby media is supposed to show that God doesn't only exist in the pulpit. You find God in sports, you find God in trade and investment, and all these things. Yes. And therefore, Christian media is supposed to emulate all of that. Yes. But the second point is on the speediness of information from the Christian media as well. You know, there's a statistic that I like that says in Africa, there are more cell phones than there are toilets. Meaning that a lot of people you can access a lot of people using cell phones as well. And as young people, we spend most of our time on the cell phone. In fact, in a 24-hour day, the better part of your hour in the day is spent on a cell phone. And what circular media does is that they're very quick with information. And why is it that when there's something bad that happens, they're the first to come out first? Exactly. But when there's something that's good that's coming out, why doesn't Christian media point it out quickly? You know, so those are the 2 points, and I think Christian media is supposed to advance in that way, in content, in how they do things, but also in
and using the existing technology.
Yes.
Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, and you know, the cell phones. Yes. And because you can reach many people in a short space of time. We always lag behind. The secular world is leading, and we follow. Let me give you 1 minute. I want to give him more time because it's his last slot.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think what my colleague Thabang is touching on is very critical. But let me enter it through this way. Do you realize that as church, we are so much on the priesthood of Christ? And that is why who would think sport is non-Christian? Then you would think cell phone, these nowadays gadgets, they are more like satanic gadgets. Up until we move from being like in the priesthood of Christ and migrate to the kingship of Christ, then we will start thinking that no, these things belongs to the kingdom. They are for the kingdom. These are tools and gadgets for migrating, and these are platforms for putting forward the gospel of Christ. I would say the church, let's go back to the Bible and really understand these 2 things, the priesthood and the kingship of Jesus Christ. If you can move and become a kingdom church, then we will talk to sports, we'll talk to women, we'll talk, because they are hurting, nobody is healing them, you know, they are hopeless, nobody is bringing hope. So when you are a Christian media, number 2, in our reporting, we have something that secular media does not have. You see, when one issue can take place, but when we report from a Christian perspective, we will not report to kill, not to destroy, but we will report to develop, we will report to build, because we have hope as we speak. You can do the same thing like mess, a dangerous mess, but when you put it as Christian people, we then quote it with hope, and thus building up. Then the readers and the listeners and the hearers and the viewers would say, no, as they report, they are building me. Exactly. As they report, I'm being encouraged. As they report, I'm being... Let's move on to this kingdom mentality.
Exactly. And occupy all mountains.
Exactly.
Mr. Mbiko, you wanted to give us a scripture, and we wanted to come in here.
Thank you very much, sir. Media is so important. Thabang has, and Tata from the Voice of the Church, touched on bringing news in terms of media, be it bringing news within Christian media or within secular media. There are 2 things that we bring about. I think both of them they have already touched on. We bring hope. Because if we bring the news as they are and then have a Christian perspective, like for instance, Christ warns us of a whole lot of times that are of things that are going to happen as an indication of his second coming. We have to be cognizant of the fact that, firstly, as we bring the news, we have to have a Christian perspective so that we bring the hope that you're talking about, but also it says to us what the times that we live in, what are the things that we need to be careful of. That reminds us about our lives as Christians, that we need to take cognizance of so that we exude as we live our lives to people, because people don't want to be preached to only. People want to see what is happening from these Christians. So that's very important. As I want to close on my side, I want to touch on this thing called excellence. And you might be, no, I don't think you'd be surprised that there are so many scriptures about excellence. I just want to go to Philippians 4, verse 8, about excellence. And it says here on Philippians 4, verse 8, the ESV version says, finally, my brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is commendable, if there is anything excellent, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. It's quite funny for me that Christians are looking, people that are not Christians, all of them are looking for all of these things that I have mentioned here.
Yes.
Things that are worthy of praise, excellent things, things that are pure. Now, we have to ask ourselves, is it because people do not find such things through and within Christian media that they go to secular media? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's very powerful. And I would like to thank you as well for availing yourself, but also for availing, we are your partners, TBN in Africa, partner with GBR, and for availing the platform for GBR to broadcast on TBN. We really appreciate that. And thank you very much for the input that you've given. Now we're going to wrap up, but we're going to take comments, final comments from our panelists and on the importance of this mountain, this sector. We know that it influences, shapes, and empowers society with information, and it can transform many lives for the kingdom. How important it is for us to pray for people behind the media and broadcasting companies, and how do we encourage many media people to get into this and to use their opportunities to advance the kingdom of God. And you can also give your general closing inputs. Who want to start? Let's start with you, Master Thabang. We'll come like this and finish with the Reverend.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think as a parting shot for me, you know, there's a saying that which you like saying whenever you're presenting, to say that when God deals with purpose, he starts with a thing before a purpose. And what?
You start with the purpose before a thing.
Purpose before a thing, yes. Apologies. So I think media practitioners and media broadcasters should know and should be aware of the fact that the positions in which they are in, they are actually stewards of God's work in any case. So meaning if you've started a radio station, a newspaper or anything, you are basically a steward. And you should know that when you're there to do good and not to destroy, as the colleagues have said in there as well. So what I wanted to touch on as well is I think I just wanted to give my perspective as well. I've been very privileged to be part of the task team that runs with this beautiful show called The New Thing. And what we have found is that every single broadcaster that we go to, we found that they were so happy and so open to receiving the show. Why is that? And it just shows that behind the scenes, people actually do share a common understanding. It's just that they're not emulating it out there. So I think for me, as an appeal as well to all those who are at home, if you've got a broadcaster at home who would like to have this beautiful show playing on their TV and so forth, they should kindly contact us. And I think the details would be scrolling down on the screen as well. Yeah.
No, it's a very, very important point. I think the feedback that we've been getting is that it's because of our content, which cuts across all sectors of society, deals with all issues that affect humanity. And if you can think it, we bring it. And that's a very, very important point that you mentioned. And we do want more broadcasters to come to us if they want these kinds of content to be broadcasted in their networks.
Thank you, Excellency. I think my parting remarks, well, I'll take it back to really the chain that is driven by media. Media, ultimately, it's communication. And communication, it's influence. Because what you hear, a small child listening to the radio, a young girl reading a newspaper, an old man watching TV, these people are getting influenced by what they are hearing, what they are getting. And that influence transforms into the characters that they become. Now, do we want characters that are godly? Or do we want characters that are angry, frustrated, and it is in our power to actually influence positivity in life. One of the principles that you refer to, Your Excellency, as far as GBR is concerned, one principle: do not dwell in the past. Do not dwell in the past. I think it's time for everybody to look forward to a positive kingdom of God.
Exactly.
And it's through the media that we can help people see positivity. I always say, we always, like in the print publications that we have influence on, we say if you are writing something, if you are writing a lead story, ask yourself first, the people that are reading this publication, what are they going to be thinking about you, the writer, in the first place? How is this thing going to influence them going forward? Are you building hatred, or you are building togetherness for the people that are reading the publication? Yes, people will always have differences. That is guaranteed. Today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. But there's one common goal that we want. We all want excellence. We all want to have a good life, and we all have a purpose towards achieving that mandate. So it is our role as media, and it is the role of the people that are looking onto us as media to help us get into that direction, because even us, we are people. We get influenced, and it's important that we have a common goal together so that we can achieve the kingdom of God. We need to pray for each other at all times. Prayer is the most powerful thing. It's beyond human capability. So if we all pray as media practitioners to really attain the universal mandate of God, we can really achieve it. And I think at the end of the day, we want everybody to be influenced positively by media. Let's stop being mediocre. As it has been said, let's address the issues on the ground. We are challenged in our daily lives, and it's not only that we do not pray that these things are happening, it's because we don't talk about them. It's not bad that we have taboo subjects discussed through media, and Christian media can really help penetrate such platforms. Thank you.
The points that you've touched on, you said people in the media industry are stewards of God, and they need to appreciate before they write their TV or radio that they have to impact God's people positively. There's a lot of negative writing, and we are told that bad stories sell, and the newspapers. We need to change that perception and make good stories sell. And the issue of prayer is critical as well. Praying for the media industry. Praying for, at the camp we prayed for the media industry, and ensuring that God raises more people who are kingdom-minded, and that even those that are not can find it in their hearts to write positively and to find stories that enhance the kingdom of God.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My last short is on two things. Number one, the message, and lastly, God himself.
Yes.
I think as media and as churches who are using this media, we need to repackage our message very well. People are in need, and they want a preaching and a teaching that will be relating to their needs. They want to be helped. Why do I go to church?
Yes.
I go to church because I have a need. And I'm expecting the man of God, the worship team, to meet me at my point of needs. Now, let us repackage the way we present our... You can't be believing, you can't be thinking all the listeners out there are demon possessed. So let us stop this business of chasing demons from sunrise to sunset. Our programs are one-sided. Let us do a strategic programming. Let's have teaching. Let's have for the young people. Let's have for the widow. Let us have, let everyone feel I'm part of it because they are speaking to me at a particular point in time. Yes. Then let me just say to the church, I'm reminded of the book of Esther. You see, in the book of Esther, when those ones remained back in Babylon, when the rest had gone with Nehemiah and Ezra, the group of Jews remained in Babylon. And there's no mention of God in the book of Esther. But God is in the background. God is driving the book of Esther in a divine way. Now, we need to understand as media that even in the secular world, there's still God there. In sport, there's still God. You know, in entertainment, there's still God. We need to be reaching out to the people wherever they are and minister God at the backdrop, and minister God at the background. God is everywhere. Who is secular when it comes to God? God is neither secular nor what. God is, if I can preach this thing, I'm feeling it now, that God is for everyone, whether secular or non. Christian or whatsoever. God loves us all. Let us present God in sporting activities. Let's present God in whatever, in soldiers, army, whatever, military. God is still there. God is still in the backdrop.
Yes.
Let us be vigilant and be holistic in our approach. I thank you.
Thank you very much. And God cuts across everything. He created everything. He owns everything. He owns all of us. And so we can never separate God from our daily life.
Exactly.
God is not only for Sunday. No. God is for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's God.
And in our businesses, in our families, in our careers, everywhere, God is involved. I just want to thank you very much for your input and for availing yourself to contribute with your knowledge, with your skills on this important subject, on the role of the media in influencing the kingdom of God. And to you, the viewers at home, we thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any questions, you have got any input or comments, you can check us on our website, www.globalbusinessroundtable.com. You may also email us at comments@anewthing.tv, comments@anewthing.tv. Remember at all times to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. All these things shall be added unto you. That's Matthew 6, verse 33. See you again next time, and God bless.